guys and a microphone. Two bald guys and a microphone. Two bald guys and a microphone. Two bald guys and a microphone. Hello, we're back, and some people been wondering where we've been. It don't matter, cause right now it's happening. Same station, new day and time slot. Content forever is growing, we won't stop. Providing remedies for chemical brain freeze. And teaching reboot, stressing you believe. We're two bald guys and a microphone. We're glad to be back, it feels good to be home.
Good morning. We are two bald guys and a microphone.
Yes, and a big shout out to our good friends at JH Events and Flowers. Mother's Day coming right up.
Oh, it is.
Well, what else does a mother want than flowers?
Well, maybe some happy kids.
Also, Natural Therapy Wellness Center, www.mchenrymassage.com, 815-385-8190. Been with us since day one. Absolutely go and, hey, Mom, get her some flowers, then get her a massage, or massage and then flowers.
Or
seems like a pretty good deal coming up in a couple of weeks. Hang in there. Today, we are rolling on part 2 of Does Every Cloud Have a Silver Lining?
We had there was some interesting discussion with people who had been listening after the meeting last week, and it was probably about 80% that yes, people believe there is a silver lining.
Yeah,
and I know we talked about sometimes it certainly doesn't feel like it at the time you're going through it, but I think there is still some optimism out there, which is what the silver lining is all about, right? Helping to get through tough times, helping to get through. I think I mentioned last show that I've been talking to a grief counselor because I couldn't find a silver lining in the loss of my brother,
right?
And it's been very difficult, but this is it's been helping me open my eyes and get back to business as normal, whatever normal is.
Well, if it's any consolation, you look like shit still. So.
Thanks, I appreciate that. And I was standing on a track meet. I've had back-to-back track meets Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
And when you're coaching track, you're basically standing for 4.5, 5 hours, maybe walking from one side of the track to the other. And by the end of it, I'm just like, oh my God, this is a young woman's business. I need to carry a folding chair with me. And
but you're the same guy who will run up and down a basketball court for 3 hours.
How would Jeff Foxworthy say that? I used to could.
That's right. We had some key points on how to deal with or look for that silver lining, right? And the big thing is we talked about rebooting, right? And of course, reboot's a big thing that we have done for years and years and years and years and years here at Two
Bald Guys and a Microphone.
And a lot of it was the recognition, right? Yeah. Recognize that hey, you're in a storm and start looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
And hope it's not a train.
Yeah, right. And then educate yourself a little bit about what you're going through and how you're going through it. And, take a look at that 9th or 10th domino that's going to fall when you get out, so you're not surprised. And then believe that there is that silver lining.
Yeah.
And then, the operating system is huge. Because you might want to unplug that and replug it back in, but I think the orchestrating part of it is the toughest part when it comes to finding that silver lining in any storm. So I want to talk a little bit about the orchestrating, because one of the things I think that you have to be very careful of when you're in the storm or when there's cloudiness is you have to be wary of the story that you tell yourself.
Right.
Okay. So in other words, I don't want to orchestrate a symphony. I might need to get a jazz or something, right?
A drum line.
because when you're in that storm, coach, and you've seen this time and time again, you've done it time and time again, I've done it time and time again, the story we tell ourselves, we automatically just kind of start acting out.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's the old saying is, hey, when you get to the bottom, stop digging. Right. Once you hit rock bottom,
or if you stop digging, you'll.
Right. So for example, Shana, good morning. So for example, let's say a person who repeatedly tells themselves that they are unathletic. We're just,
right.
I'm going to use you're out at the track. This person will tend to avoid healthy behaviors because I'm unathletic. For years and years, well, hey, I'm the fat guy. One of our good friends, Pam Gish, goes, can't stop saying that.
Yeah.
Stop saying that, because what you're telling yourself, you're starting to live out that, right? And you're like, I'm not going to watch what I eat. I'm okay if I have this 12 pack of donuts.
Right.
Whatever. If I drink these 8 margaritas, whatever the case may be. So such a mindset, when you get into that story, coach, such a mindset obscures a person's ability to see the many good things about themselves. In that scenario, has kept them physically fit in the past. But or whatever, happy or aggressive or whatever the case may be. When I say aggressive, chasing goals aggressively, we really have to recognize self-fulfilling prophecies when you're in that storm.
Well, and recognize the fact that you're doing it, because sometimes it takes somebody from the outside, make this cut and go in, coach, I'm not fast enough. And as long as you tell yourself that, you're never going to be fast enough.
Right.
But it has nothing to do with speed. It has everything to do with quickness.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to recognize it, because we get in that habit of, it's easy to cut ourselves down. I mean, how many times, in just the simplicity of it, when you do something, you make a wrong turn, you do something, dummy. Right.
Yep.
And it's just I can't believe you did that again. Right.
Alice says that a lot. Yeah, you dummy.
But that's not self-fulfilling. That's husband fulfilling prophecy.
That's right. So I think and we've talked about it on other shows. We've talked about it on this show for years and years and years. But that inner critic, that inner, and I don't even want to say critic. I'm going to change it to that inner storyteller.
Right.
Right. To the James Earl Jones voice in your head that's narrating things, is the thing. Shana says, at this stage of life, every friend's departure is a reminder of our own mortality. Yeah. Yep. And you're right. And as you continue to age, there's another one, and there's another one.
Another one bites the dust.
That's right.
Another one bites
That's
the
right.
dust.
So I think if you're looking for that silver lining, you really have to orchestrate the story, orchestrate the music that's in your head. Talking with Brian Bond from Aegis Solutions yesterday.
Aegis Solutions.
A great IT company taking complex technology and making it really, really easy for you. Anyway, Brian Bond said that he has, when he's in there, he's got playlists, music pull him out of whatever funk. So if he needs to be pumped up, he's got a playlist that can really jazz him up, set him up to turn his dial up to 10. If he's depressed or sad, he's got a playlist that pulls him out of that. If he thinks he's too hyper, he's got a playlist to pull him down.
Really?
So he's got music that he adjusts, to his life and to situations, right? So here's a guy who, was the deputy director of security for Chicago Public Schools for years and years and years and years, right? And, did his job well, but people asked him in the CPS, like, how are you so calm all the time? How do you make light of it? And he goes, I drove here. Right? And they're like, what? He goes, I can leave here. I drove here. And when I'm driving in my car, depending on the situation, it depends on the music that I set.
Yeah.
So that I'm prepared mentally to come in to whatever it is, with the right energy, right focus. So it's very interesting when you're talking about and looking at silver linings is that entire storyteller. And just to be careful of that, so you don't start living that out.
Right.
Your situation, with the heart, and then you and I have talked, and you said, oh, I've slipped in a couple places. Well, is it that storyteller in there, that's saying, hey, bud,
And he calls him out live on two
guys
and a microphone. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
And I admit I've been stuck in that, and it's one person when I kind of opened up on it said, you're the one who helps everybody else.
That's
and
right.
I'm like, yeah, but the plumber has leaks and the electrician has faulty wiring, right?
Well, and that's it. Poems, lyrics, as Shana says, prayer, all can soothe the soul. Absolutely. And when I, as a lot of people have seen out on, social media, is I've been offered the position and accepted the position as the head women's basketball coach
Scots.
at McHenry County College. And the athletic director, when she interviewed me, says, I wasn't sure that you wanted this. And I go, I wasn't sure that I did either. And I go, a lot of it for me was that storyteller. I don't know if you're good enough.
Yeah.
I don't, you've never been the head coach of hey, I've been a head coach of, several peewee leagues and clubs and I'm like, and I've managed and developed a lot of feeder programs. And then I sat, as an assistant coach, but never the head coach. Right. So, that's always comes with a heavy weight, right? Heavy's the head that wears the crown or whatever they say. But so I talk to myself a lot about that and saying, oh boy, I don't know. And so I started to believe the story, that self-fulfilling prophecy. And then, my wife is like, you need to do this, and so I did. And now I'm excited and overjoyed. And, as I say, you're never too old to you got to keep chasing after your dreams no matter your age. And once in a while, you might just be lucky enough to catch one or two.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Or it might catch you.
Life is a breeze. How are you with Matt and Steve? For me, the only thing that cures the existentialism is helping others. Yep. That's a huge one that we talked about in part one as well is doing service work or serving others and practicing compassion, which is great. And it does. That will get you out of any funk. Which is something else. Another thing that you can do when you're in that storm and you're looking for that silver lining or trying to find that silver lining or even wondering if there is a silver lining is question your thinking. And this is a weird thing, but it's common for people to get caught up in the cycle, right, of believing their own thoughts. Yeah. So no matter how unrealistic or unfounded they may be, you have to start questioning their beliefs and thoughts and make those and their power, if they're false, powerless, right? So a big thing I think is, and Lisa Eflin from Living Outside the Box had a conversation with me, and she's like, if one of your athletes says, I can't do that. And just look at them instead of going, yes, you can. Just go, that's interesting. Who told you that?
Yeah.
Right? Because then it starts questioning that thought. We've had him on the show in the past, affirmations.
Noah St.
Noah
John.
St. John. Your brain is always trying to figure out a question. You're always
Right,
trying
solve
to
a
fix,
problem,
solve a
right?
problem. And if you change the way you're thinking, if you question your thinking, right? Stop, go to your happy place, ask yourself a question.
Right.
So many times, and the things that we do and the things that we've said are question. Not go, well, why are you thinking that, idiot? But form a different question.
Right. Why is it so easy?
Yeah. Why is it so easy to get through this?
Right.
This time, you know? And I think that that's a huge thing that we just don't do enough of, is stop to go, where did I get that thought from? Who put it in there?
Basically, go away.
What's that?
Go away. Get out of here.
That's right.
Thought.
Yeah.
Don't need you right now.
Sunshine and water, or whatever you mix your cocktails with, cures much. That's right.
100% of scientists agree alcohol is a solution. I'm just.
Thank you very much, folks. So, Coach, when you are, when you're trying to question your thinking, what are some of the pattern interrupts? What are some of the methods you use, right? So, chemical brain freeze, we know. Right. Stop, take a deep breath.
Go to your happy place.
Go to your happy place.
And for me, that happy place has always been track and field. I was a state champion in high school, and that happy memory I go back to is the day of the state championship when 20,000 people went on their feet for me. And I focus on that, but the real idea, it's not about a singular happy place. It's about getting your body to create dopamine.
Mm.
When we're in conflict, and I talked, Chuck Inman is the author, by the way, of Chemical Brain Freeze. When I talked to Chuck one day, I said, Chuck, does internal conflict create the same process as external conflict? I mean, we talk about the referee's call or the guy cutting you off in traffic. But what about that? You dummy. I can't believe you did that again. I can't believe you're always doing this. That self-talk that's creating internal conflict. Does that also load our body up with cortisol and stop us from achieving? He said, absolutely. I said, well, great. How do I get out of that? He said, stop, breathe, go to your happy place. It's the same,
right?
The same steps. At one point when a person very near and dear to me that I've been married to for 49 years was going through some conflict, and I may have been involved. And I realized what was going on, and I said, we need to stop, breathe and go to our happy place. She goes, I don't have a happy place right now. And I'm like, I looked at her, and she didn't at that moment have a happy place. So that was a moment in time that I realized that we don't always. It's not always easy to access that happy place. When we get pushed down that tunnel so far, and we can't see, we have to work to get there. But it goes back to what you're talking about, recognizing we're halfway down the tunnel before we recognize we're even there.
Yeah. Life is a breeze with Matt and Steve says, I think introspection is the hardest thing for some people. Agree or disagree?
I believe it. I agree. Self-reflection, introspection, knowing who you are. Sometimes we don't want to know who we are because we want to. It's easier to live out there than to get in here. I'm great in a crowd. Put me on a stage, I'm a lot of fun. Put me in a networking group, I can talk to anybody. Put me in a room by myself, I implode.
Yeah. Many people are unaware how medicine can alter the mood. Yes. Medicine, hormonal changes for women, hormonal changes for men as they get old. I mean, there's a lot, right? There's a lot that does alter moods as well. And again, that's that questioning part. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this way? Good morning, Nate. Nate says, morning, guys. Listening on my drive to Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Eau Claire.
The Blue Golds up there of Eau Claire, University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire. And it's the home of Menards.
Well,
there you go.
Who knew? I guess you did.
I did. There you go. And one time back in the 90s was ranked one of the safest cities to live in America. there you go.
Very good.
All you wanted to know about Eau Claire, Wisconsin, right here. Good stuff. So, I'm going to go back to what
Toby.
Hey, good morning. Thanks, Toby. Appreciate you more than you know. Hopefully you survived the tornadoes down there last week in New London. And everybody in New London who's tuning in this morning are safe. And
I hate to point out the obvious, but he's commenting on our Facebook page, so he definitely survived the tornadoes.
Well, yeah. Well, unless it's
I hope your property also
unless
survived.
it's a bot.
That's true. The Tony Evans bot.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm going to go back to what Life is a Breeze said. Is helping others, right? For me, the only thing that cures that existentialism is helping others. So that's another point when you're in a storm to find that silver lining is modeling a positive behavior for younger people, so your children, your whatever, right? Because how many TV shows, how many CSIs have we seen? And then I got into drugs, and my kid's sitting over here, and just this weird stuff. So, given that optimism is learned. Parents especially are responsible for showing or modeling their children how to see the good side of things. Right. So if you understand that you have people and eyes on you, whether it's students, whether it's whether it's your own kids, whether it's the neighbor's kids, whether it's your whatever the case may be, the idea is if you're modeling that, then it's hard not to find that silver lining, right? If you aren't, if you are panning for gold and you're not in a river, right? I mean, you're not really modeling the right the right behaviors. So a lot of, I think, what we do in those situations, if you know that there's an audience, and what I mean by that is not this audience here, but what I mean by that is the audience of your family, right? The audience of those that you love dearly. It doesn't have to be children. It could be your spouse. It could be your partner. It could be whatever the case may be. But know that you're that model. You have to model that behavior, right? So this past weekend, I was up in Milwaukee at the USJN Windy City tournament. It was a great tournament. We ended up taking fourth. My 14, 15-year-olds play in the 16U, so they play up, and we took fourth, and we took second in our pool, and we took fourth overall, which I'm very, very excited with. But one of the things one of my rules is trust, right? I've got 4 rules to the game, and the 4th rule is trust. And you have to trust yourself. You have to trust your abilities. You have to trust your teammates. You have to trust your plays. You have to trust your coach. You have to trust that the refs are going to make bad calls, right? And I see a lot of coaches riding these referees and jumping down their throats and trying to tell the referees how to do what they're supposed to.
And that always goes over well.
It never does. And so I had to model, right? I had to model the behavior to these ladies. And I didn't yell at one ref, right? The whole weekend, right? And I encouraged them, the referees. And so I had to model one of my own rules for these young ladies because in a tournament this big, it's time. So I mean, I'm going to hit you in the face, and they're not going to call anything. You're going to hit me in the face. They're going to get you for the foul. You know what I mean? It's very inconsistent, but it's all timed because it's also live streamed. So things got to roll. And if you're sitting there and they called every foul, we'd be there all day. So understanding that I had to model that behavior and model that the silver lining, I think it also allowed the athletes that I was working with to focus on the game,
Right.
instead of getting mad that they're getting fouled, right? So
One of the things I taught my athletes for years is you're allowed to say two things to the referee. One, are those new shoes? And two, have you lost some weight, sir? You're looking good. One referee came over to me one day and he goes, one of your kids keeps commenting on my shoes. And I said, well, he doesn't agree with your calls,
Yeah.
but he's not allowed to say anything else or he'll be on the bench. He
Yeah.
goes, I appreciate that, coach.
Love that. Love that. Absolutely. Shani says Robin Williams was modeling welcomed behavior. Yeah. Yeah. So often the things that he'd do, every movie that he was ever in, he would, get the homeless people around and give them a job for the movie, whether it was a stand-in or whatever the case may be. So very, very, modeled that incredibly. Just some
you're a little younger, but do you remember Mork and Mindy when he first came on the Nano? And it was just what an amazing guy he was.
Yeah. All right, so this next one is something that I think a lot of us fall into when the cloud is around us. And again, listen, a shout out to Natural Therapy Wellness Center, www.mchenrymassage.com, 815-385-8190. Great. They do great stuff. They're great people. Also, JH Events and Flowers. They are the ultimate place here.
Mm-hmm.
One in Fox Lake, one in McHenry. $5 bundles, $5 Friday. You can get a bouquet, I guess.
And the bouquets will last until Sunday. So on Mother's Day Friday, you get that $5 bundle.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said about John, though, over at a Natural Therapy and Wellness Center, let him be your silver lining when there's a cloud around you. Because I've gone to John several times. He is my massage guy, and he is amazing.
Also, just want to, if you didn't know, Let's Go Racing is back.
Yes, it is.
Mike Babbitt's, the Hall of Fame voice of the Wilmot Raceway and a lot of racing, is back on the air Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. He'll be live in studio this week with some guests, and miss that show. It's one of the best shows. And if you know anything about racing, tune in tonight at 6. And that's Automobile Racing.
Right. Yeah. He's been the voice of the Wilmot Raceway for
a
number of years, as you indicated, Hall of Fame announcer. But he's got a very soothing voice too when he's on the radio. He's just one of those guys.
Great guy.
I since we've been in radio for so long, when I talk to somebody within 2 syllables out of their mouth, I'm like, man, that's a great radio voice.
It is, right? You hear that right off the bat. So he's on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Cool show, all about local racing. I guess regional or Midwestern. But he does pull in some people from around the world on some things. Also, if you love what you see here, reach out to us at info@216thenet.com. info@216thenet.com and just put in there. We've got packages if you want to support, 250, 500, 1,500. We got a bunch of different packages where you can get your business out in front of people, and or you can just say, hey, love what you're doing because you guys don't cover politics or the news. You always come in and get a daily dose of encouragement, and send us money, because it does take some money to keep this thing rolling. So, but we're always looking for great sponsors and ways to get people up here and really get you in front of millions of minds.
Since we're on this moment, that we've had talk of doing a radio streamathon.
Yep.
We
still have talks.
Target dates.
We haven't had a date because there's a lot of moving parts, and to do it right, we got to make sure that all the moving parts are taken care of. So it's an ongoing quest and conversation at the round table, I guess, but we'll get there.
At the round table in the green room.
That's right. Shana says the best advice I ever received was life's not fair. The shock of the shock of his departure, what did I say? Came
because he was always smiling on the outside.
Yeah.
True. Referring back to Robin Williams.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Another cool thing, if you Google it, is see the reaction of the ape that he made friends with when they told the ape that he had passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Anyway, that's just neither here nor there. So here's where I'm going with this next one. If you want to find that silver lining, watch out for the quote unquote what if thinking and avoid the catastrophizing, right? So catastrophizing is a cognitive dissertation in which a situation is overblown, or future expectations are considered bleak, right? So you've taken the situation you're in, and you said, what if, until you if yourself into such a negative spot, get you just blown up, right? So when you're thinking about this and you're in the storm, this pessimistic attitude is associated with various negative outcomes, right? Distress, poorer treatment, increased pain sensitivity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We can't know the future, and expecting the worst only diminishes a person's self-efficiency and likelihood of experiencing joy. We all have all heard the person like, what is the old saying? I plan for the best but expect the worst, or something.
Expect the worst, plan for the best.
And what? Then you're not really planning for the best, right? You're planning the lifeboat because the boat's going to sink. And that is that catastrophizing thought process in your brain. Now, I'm not a psychologist, nor do I play one. I probably have a psychology course because they make people take that in college. I don't know. Anyway, what I'm saying is, a lot of times when you're in that storm, how many times have you got to the other side of that storm, looked back and gone, I was way off base there. It's not as bad as I thought it was. That's why they say hindsight's 20/20. But too many times, people that I deal with, people that I know, start playing the what if game, right? And they blow things up. You can be optimistically pessimist, right? Like, hey, the glass has water in it.
It's 3/4 full,
right? So I think you have to avoid that when you're in that situation. The cloud's coming down on you, and you have to understand that you may not be able to get yourself out of that catastrophizing, right?
You as you mentioned, the always looking for the other shoe to fall. It goes back to that self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
If you expect it, it will. You have to go and no one ever pulls up for a shot expecting to miss.
Right.
At that shot now, I watched Steph Curry miss the first 8 shots of a game one time. But he kept shooting because every shot that he put up, he expected he wound up like 58 points that game, missing his first 8 shots.
Yep.
A lot of times we miss a shot in life and we stop shooting.
Yeah.
All right. We stop trying. We get into that place where, I can't do this.
Well, I think that is that's more commonplace than not in today's society, right? And I think that that's tough, and it's something that we skirt around, right? We know that there are a ton of issues, there are a ton of mental health issues, there are a ton of weird things that happen in life. Yet we decide to throw a distraction at something instead of going, hey, why are you trying to catastrophize this? You know, and again, let's challenge your thinking. Let's change your thinking.
Almost every other, I shouldn't stereotype, but most other outlets, video outlets, podcasts, news have some form of negative approach to, they're out there reporting all the negative. There's a lot of negative. There's a lot of crap out there, but there's a lot of good out there too. And I believe there's more good out there than there is garbage.
Yeah.
But we need to expect that. One of the things in the Happiness Advantage, Sean Acor, he talks about finding 3 new things to write every day that you're grateful for. Right? I'm grateful. Oh, I just saw the other. We were driving up to a track meet, and a mother goose had like 14 babies, like a whole herd of baby geese. My first babies of the year, right? But it's not about the things you're grateful for. It's about putting your mind in a place of looking to things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
So when we're looking for things to be grateful for, we'll find them. When we look for garbage, we'll find it also. So you have to pick and choose what you're thinking about, what you're doing. If you're expecting yourself to fail, you will fail.
Speaking of garbage, could we get the Indian back with the 1 tier, because our roadways are just filthy. There is more trash and litter. Spackle when I was driving up to Milwaukee, I'm like, this just gross. It's not pretty. And thank you for the people who adopt a highway and keep their section clean. But my goodness.
I'm like,
how does some of these things? Why is there a refrigerator all like that? I don't know.
When I was in Germany in the Army, you're out in the countryside. You do not see a piece of trash in the countryside.
No.
In Germany, every person takes pride. You look at the garbage that winds up on our streets, and it's like, that isn't one person randomly throwing something out the window. That's people just not caring.
Yep. All right, so we're talking about finding the silver lining. We're talking about, is there one actually? Does every cloud have a silver lining? And we're getting closer to this. But listen, the next piece is we really want to talk about your brain training. Now, the next few steps is you have to start changing your brain. Okay, not necessarily the Kennedy method, but you have to start training your brain. And I will battle anybody. I will stand toe to toe, and we will throw fists, whatever the case may be. If they're like, well, all you got to do is jot down 3 things you're grateful for every day, and life's good. No,
that's just one piece.
Right.
Life is so much bigger than that, but it's having that tool in your quiver, right? You've got to got to have that tool. You got to have 87 other tools in there as well. Like there's a lot of arrow. He had all those different arrows: the exploding arrow, the rope arrow. You've got to have a ball, and you got to
have your bat utility belt.
That's right. You've got to take responsibility for your brain, because if you don't, the world is just going to keep filling you with stuff. And
so one of the best things to do that, right?
Yes.
And gratitude is a big thing. We talked about that. Was one of the things
we've had several shows
on the last show. Is jot down some things that you're grateful for. But here's an idea. When you're in that storm, it doesn't matter what kind of shit storm it is, you're stuck in it, is do things that bring you joy.
Yes.
Okay. Even during the most difficult times, the ability to get involved in activities that make you happy is essential for enhancing your well-being. Okay. Such activities they don't need to be costly, right? It could be go for a walk. It could be sit next to a lake and watch the sunset or the sunrise. A person can always be reminded of beauty that exists in nature, I think, because that's my happy place, right? I tell people I've got 2 happy places depending on where I need to be happy. One is sitting next to water and in nature, and the other is in the gymnasium, right? So, it depends on what happy I'm looking for. But there's always a propensity that when you're going through a shitstorm, when the clouds are around you, that we go, I don't have time right now to do what I enjoy. And then I stay stuck in the mire, stuck in the muck. And it, again, it doesn't, I enjoy skydiving, but I don't have the money to skydive. You enjoy other things as well. I enjoy Hawaii. I can't get to Hawaii. Okay, but there's other things that you enjoy. Maybe it's a jigsaw puzzle. You just enjoy the slowing down and trying to put a jigsaw puzzle together. There's a really neat one out there. Did I tell you about this one? It's like a 1,000-piece, and it's just plexiglass cut up, so it's clear.
It's clear.
Yeah. It's amazing, right? I hate puzzles, actually. I don't have the patience or time or focus for it. But Alice loves puzzles. But I'm just like, it's just like a clear piece of plexiglass and stamped out into puzzle pieces.
Puzzles were a big thing on the farm growing up, because in the wintertime when you're snowed in, you do the chores, you come in, you work on the puzzle. And we'd always battle to see who got to put in the last piece of the puzzle. Right. Well, one day we got all done and there was a piece missing, and we're like, oh, really? Grandma reaches in her pocket, she pulls out a piece and puts it in. We're like, Grandma, that's not fair. Right. Well, that started a new tradition that at the beginning of a puzzle, everybody would take a piece and put it in their pocket. And then when we got down to the end, all the pieces that were on the table were used. Everybody would pull out their piece and put them in. And these were 1,000, 1,500 piece puzzles. You know, they were big. Well, one year we got done and everybody put their puzzle piece in, and there's still one missing. We're counting people. Is there somebody else? No, we're looking around and can't find it. And everybody's, oh, this puzzle's just, it's ruined, right? It's missing a piece. Well, the next Sunday when everybody is over for Sunday dinner, which happened almost every week on the farm, Mom was getting ready she needed the card table for put dishes on or whatever. So she's going to take apart the puzzle, and she wipes across the top of the puzzle. There was that piece perfectly camouflaged sitting on top of the puzzle.
Oh, is that
right? And you would have thought she won the lottery. She says, I found it, right? And we all came together to put in that last piece. Well, sometimes we all have a missing piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
A missing piece, and we're looking for that missing piece. And 9 times out of 10, it's right in front of you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those, what do they call them, sonograms, where you look at it, it looks like just a bunch of colors, wavy colors, but when you stare at it long enough, a 3D
Tyrannosaurus Rex
will pop out. He's trying to eat you.
That's it.
Well, that's life, right? The answers are almost always right in front of us. There was a guy on LinkedIn who was selling his coaching class, how to become a better coach, and he had all these topics. Attend my class and learn to be better at this, learn to be better at this. And I know the guy, and I said, and I reached out to him. I said, you're missing something. What? I said, where do you have worked in there the importance of listening? He goes, well, what do you mean? He said, well, what I've found in my coaching process is most people have their answers. We just need to ask the right questions and then listen.
Yeah.
Right. But we don't listen well. As coaches, we're fixers. And as fixers, we're looking for a problem to fix or to solve. And as soon as we hear what we think is a problem, we start fixing that. And 9 times out of 10, it's only a symptom. When do we learn how to listen better?
Yeah.
They think they teach us in school.
Yeah.
Oh, be quiet and listen. They're not teaching anything.
Yeah. So, so I think to take time to do the things that bring you joy, whatever it is, a Sudoku, it could be something simple. It could be a movie. A lot of people love going to a movie. Well, if you don't have the money, then you can watch one at home. Pull up the old VHS and watch one, right?
VHS are these tapes, and you put them in this big slot.
So I think that there's always something that brings you joy. And sometimes it's just the smell of popcorn, at a theater. Sometimes it's the smell of wood if you love woodworking. Cutting grass is something that I enjoy. It's very therapeutic to me, right?
If you need some therapy, my house is ready for you.
you've got grandkids and a grandson-in-law that can do that now, which is good. So do the thing you want to find that silver lining. Do the things that bring you joy. Right. Next is practice healthy life habits. Okay. Yes. I'm not a health coach. I'm not a doctor. Listen, persistent negativity is exasperated by unpleasant physical sensations such as fatigue or feeling run down.
Right.
Okay. Take a look at what you put into your body. Is most of it man-made and produced, right? So many things now are grown hydroponically as well that you can eat healthy, but you're missing out the nutrients from the earth,
right?
Because that's not grown in dirt anymore.
But we're putting the nutrients in the water. No, you're not.
Not
you're putting artificial nutrients in the water,
yes.
And so you may have beautiful looking plants. Growing up on the farm, one of the greatest, you talk about things bringing me joy, was during plowing and disking. As you're turning the soil over and the earthworms would come up, the seagulls would come. And the seagulls would just float beside you. And I just love, Jonathan Livingston's Seagull movie came out about that time.
Mm-hmm.
And, the seagulls, well, I was in the Army and I was home on leave. And I'm like, what can I do, Dad? And he's like, the Tracy place needs plowing a couple of fields if you want to head over there. So I'm over there and I'm plowing. And I'm probably 3/4 way through the field when I noticed it. There were no seagulls. I mean, I'm like, where are the seagulls? So, I, got hooked up with Dad later.
Field goals.
Field goals. That's good. Dad, where are the seagulls? He goes, once we went away from natural fertilizers, the earthworms all kind of died. And when the earthworms died, the seagulls stopped coming.
Neat.
There was nothing for them. And I said, why are you doing that? He goes, well, everybody else is doing it. They're getting these big yields. They're getting 140 bushel an acre. I'm getting 110. I need 140 to make money.
Yeah.
And it's just, one thing after another. But when the nutrients disappear from our food, then little things start happening. Heart disease, mental disease.
Yeah.
Our nutrients are so important.
So healthy life habits, by eating healthy, putting good things in you, and getting adequate sleep. That's another thing. So you don't know how many people I talk to on a regular. They're like, I can't sleep. And I'm like, well, are you writing a book? No, I've got insomnia. What? I'm like, listen, I go, but when I stop, I sleep. And when I sleep well. I mean, I slept so well, man, my neck hurts. Still, there was from 2 days ago. I don't know if I moved. I'm like, oh man. But anyway, right? Is you got to get that sleep. You got to let your body regenerate itself. And a lot of times, we don't know how to shut that brain off. Right. Yeah. Or we've got the TV going or the phone going, and we don't give our brain enough time to go. Right. So healthy life habits. I'm not saying go to the gym. I'm not saying run and jog and do all
although
this.
you can. He's not saying don't.
Right. What I'm saying is sometimes it's a salad instead of a greasy hamburger and fries. Yeah. Sometimes it's make your own peanut butter and jelly sandwich at home instead of going and getting deep fried stuff. Sometimes it's deep frying that peanut butter and jelly sandwich at home. Hey, I'm just saying. But right. But healthy life habits. Listen to what I'm saying. Life habits. That's a routine. That's enough sleep. That's doing things that make you happy. Finding that silver lining, huge. Now, the last thing that I have with finding that silver lining in every storm. And is there one? I will still debate if there's one, but you can try to find one, right? Yeah. If you don't try to find one, you'll never see it, period. But here's what I'm telling you. And if you don't do this now, start doing it and then report back to us at the end of May here at Two Bald Guys and a Microphone and tell us how it's affected your life. Are you ready? This is a groundbreaker for me. This is a game changer for me. Okay. Is start each day with positivity. Now listen, we've all heard, woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed this morning, right? Woke up on the wrong side of the bed. However, starting the day with a deep breath and peaceful, optimistic thoughts, stretching, may shift your day's trajectory, right, into a more encouraging direction. What does Zig say? It's not an alarm.
It's an opportunity clock.
It's an opportunity clock.
Alarm is a negative, opportunity is a positive.
Right. So some of the things that I do, right, when I wake up is I stretch. I take a deep breath. I thank the good Lord for opening my eyes, right? The next thing that goes through my head is it's 20 after 4. Why am I waking up at 20 after 4? I don't, but that tells me that my it's time to start the day.
Yeah.
Right. And it's amazing that because of that, then I do some light yoga in the morning. I stretch, but I do, this is weird. People will think this is weird, but I try to get my brain going in the right direction. You will probably do the Kennedy method right off the bat. I do Wordle and connection. Right. So that gets my brain focused, right, on all right, it's time to start thinking, right?
And one of the things I've spoken about this a lot, when you wake up in the morning, if you think of your balance sheet, your balance sheet's pretty even.
Yeah.
Positivity and negativity, it's right here. If you just let the day kind of start happening, it's not going to be long before you get bombarded with the negative stuff.
Yeah.
And the balance sheet's going to start tilting the wrong way.
Yeah.
When you can start off on a positive note, then you're prepared to face the garbage you're going to be running into throughout the day. But if you're not ready, if you just get up and I gotta go to work. Oh, what was the Mona, the shaving commercial years ago?
Yeah. So listen, how do you start each day with positivity when you wake up and perhaps your spouse or your child is in ICU?
Yeah.
Right. When your parent is in hospice, or somebody that is on dialysis, and you start that day positively. One of my dear friends, Andrew, is on dialysis, and he's been battling. He's on the transplant for a kidney. Young guy, right? In his 40s. Very young guy. He's got some young kids, and still one of the most optimistic. And he starts each day with positivity, and he gets up and he's like, I don't know why God chose me, but here we go. I'm going to get this, right? And it's amazing to watch that positiveness bleed out of him, right? And then you go like this: why am I down? I ain't got a third of his problems. Right? What
does he know that I don't know?
Right? And I think that there's a huge thing. You want to see that. If you want to see the silver lining, is you've got to be able to start each day with positivity. I'm driving yesterday, and it's 6 o'clock in the evening, whatever. We're driving, and it's beautiful. There's clouds and the sunset coming. And you see one cloud in the distance, and you see the rain coming out of it, right? You see the clouds kind of dripping. And now I'm in sunshine, and I look over there, and I go, that's kind of cool. But then I thought about this show today, and I'm like, but that's somebody. That's not a cloud. That's somebody I may know.
Yeah.
And they're in that storm right now. Here I am, in the sunshine, putting my visor down because I'm driving west into the sun, and I see that, and that's life. And I'm thinking, that's life, isn't it? I'm here in the sunshine. All right. I've got my wife and my daughter. One of my daughters in the car. Life seems to be going pretty good. Just got tagged as the head coach. Things seem to be going pretty good. We keep adding shows and sponsors here. Things seem to be going pretty good, right? Get to come in this morning. Last night I was like, you got tomorrow morning, 2 ball guys and a microphone. Is this is the flagship. Things going pretty good. But it's raining on somebody over there. Right. Yeah. And a moment of gratitude for me. But that moment of, empathy as well, to go, even though it's good, there's somebody that it's raining on. Yeah. Right. And I think that's you got to maintain that. Let's see what I love what Life is a Breeze with Matt and Steve. Now you got to tell me. I'm gonna search Life is a Breeze with Matt and Steve. Is that a podcast? Is that a show? Because I love the things that you're saying, and I'm going to follow you on YouTube. I love it. Doom scrolling or watching videos that make you mad, upset on social media first thing in the morning or last thing in the evening is a sure way to make you miss. I agree with you. Oh my gosh. I've done that, right? I run 2 businesses. I cook, and sometimes I've done this. Let me just check my email right before I'm going to bed. Right? Let me make sure and I'm laying in the bed and I pull up a phone and let me check my email, and then you see this email that literally pisses you off right before you're about ready to go to bed. Why do I do that to myself? Sometimes we all do that, right? Hey, Marty. Good morning. Good
morning, Marty.
Morning. But it's so true. Or how many times have we woke up? Oh, it's Steve. That life is, hey, Steve. Okay. No wonder. I'm like, I know that and it is a podcast, so like them, right? Hey, Steve, always Steve Slagle, come in anytime you want, brother, right? 2 ball guys and a microphone is every other week, right? The second and fourth Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Right. Love you, brother. But I love that. See, no wonder I love the guy. Right. Anyway, how often do we do that first thing in the morning? Well, I hate this person. I can't believe they blah, 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 blah. Right. Or your social media scroll is designed to upset you because that gives the best reactions. That was the algorithm for it. And now all of a sudden it's like, why would you go there first thing in the morning?
I remember at one point you actually stopped going on Facebook at all because of the people who were would come in and challenge your positive quotes with, not just negative, extreme negative.
Extreme negative, yeah.
And I thought it was a great move.
Yeah, I did it. I was off of it for a year for like the fourth quarter of 2020 up to the fourth quarter of 2021, and that was because I wanted to reset. I wanted to challenge the algorithm and reset it, and sure enough, I did. And since then, I've got nothing but great stuff. But once in a while, you'll see they'll try to slip a little bit of slippery stuff in there.
It's what they do. Yeah. Marty and Lynn Frederick, who just checked in, said, hi, Marty's one of the most positive guys I've run into in years. And he's, somebody I call and just talk to work things through.
So if you want, look, we're on the back end of this series, and our next series in May, what we're going to be talking about is human fertilizer. Wait, is that I don't know. Should we call it that?
I guess we could. That
get
might get the interest up to.
In other words, spring is a time for plantings, right? So a lot of us look forward to things, but how do you fertilize and make a thought grow? How do you a business idea, a personal idea, whatever. We're going to narrow it down a little bit more. I don't know. I just said it sounds like personal, human fertilizer.
With May, as we were talking about it before the show, May is a time when the farmers, they've done all the work, the fields are prepared, it's all ready for the seed. Now, May is a time when you actually put the seed in the field and prepare. So what seeds have you been planting, and what are you doing to nurture them and help them grow? That's what we'll be talking about in May, is how to take those seeds, how to nurture them, how to care for them, and how to grow the success.
Yeah, I mean, we are into the second quarter of this year already, and there's still time to make a change in your life for this year and do things. And we'll have a couple of good guests come in as well, just because you don't always have to listen to two bald guys and a microphone, but we've got great connections of people who could come in and be important.
Absolutely, what Marty says: what you plant in your mind will grow. I'll leave you with this thought on success. Each and every one of us are programmed for success at a very specific time in our life. We are programmed for success during potty training, and here's why. Number one, you must have a specific target to hit. Number two, you must have a mentor coach who's going to help you hit that target, but is not going to do it for you. Number three, you must be consistent in your efforts. Number four, you must celebrate your successes. Number five, you got to let your failures just kind of roll on down your leg. And we're programmed for success very early in life, but we forget those steps. And most of us fall apart on consistency.
Yes.
Right? We have a target, we have a coach, but we're not consistent in our efforts. And that's what I'd like to call you out on this next 2 weeks. Be consistent. Go out. Find that thing that makes you happy. Find that joy.
Yep.
Go with what Ken said on that fifth thing. Apply it for the next 2 weeks and then check in with us. But wake up in the morning and the first thing you do, make a positive, inspirational moment in your life. Start that balance sheet up on a high, and that will help carry you through the day.
Yeah, and I will still stand behind. I don't think every cloud has a silver lining, but if you approach it with the right attitude, you may not get so wet, right? So the idea is when you're in the storm, be a buffalo, right? Don't be a cow. So when a storm is coming, the buffalo turns and starts walking west, head into the storm. A cow turns its back to the storm and will get rained on for as long as it takes. Well, the buffalo will try to walk out of the storm.
Yeah.
So be a buffalo if you're in the storm, and remember, we're here. We are two bald guys and a microphone.
My name is Tim Stewart. I am Coach Papa, and I do approve this message. Or we do. So God bless. Travel safe. Now it's time for you to get off the bench and get back in the game.
Two bald guys and a microphone. 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 Hello, we're back, and some people been wondering where we've been. It don't matter, cause right now it's happening. Same station, new day and time slot. Content forever is flowing, we won't stop. Providing remedies for chemical brain freeze. And teaching reboot, stressing you believe. We're two bald guys and a microphone. We're glad to be back, it feels good to be home.